Hello and welcome everybody. I'd like to begin, as we always do, by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land upon which we are meeting, and I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I'd also like to extend that respect to people from the First Nations community who are joining us here today. Welcome to everyone who's registered for today's session. We're very excited to share with you some information about our AgTech Angel Network grant round. We have a few people on the line today. We do have a Q&A channel that's open. I'm going to be monitoring that Q&A channel, so please do drop any questions that you have into that. We will also be monitoring the chat channel, but I won't. My team will, I won't. So if you want to use that, you're more than welcome. But if you'd like to attract my attention and grab a question, please do chuck that in the Q&A and I'll get to them as we go along. So let's jump into it. As I said, we're here to talk about our Angel Grant Round information. As you may be aware, agriculture is a major export industry for Victoria. AgTech is a key driver of the community and the industry, and it supports the adaptation of the agricultural sector. It has the potential to provide farmers and people in the process, in the agriculture supply chain, with the tools, data and knowledge to make more informed, timely on-farm decisions, improve productivity, as well as sustainability. Despite Victoria having a really productive and strong agricultural sector, unfortunately, we've not had such a strong AgTech sector. It's a very small sector compared to other areas of our startup community and accounts for less than 5% of total startups in Victoria. And at Launch Vic, as well as Agriculture Victoria, we want to change this because we see this as being a very important part of our future. It's why we have partnered with Agricultural Victoria to improve the quantity and quality of AgTech startups. This began with a $2.2 million partnership to deliver a program to increase the quantity and quality of startups, particularly through pre-accelerator programs. And I know some of our colleagues who have been through the pre-accelerator programs and run those programs are joining us today. Those programs have been hugely successful and they're bringing 130 new AgTech startups to market in the next couple of years. They're also supporting the ecosystem, the AgTech ecosystem to grow and the business development pipeline. This means that we are starting to grow from a sector in AgTech that hasn't been very strong to a really strong supply and pipeline of really wonderful startups. And we know the next step in this journey is making sure that we have got access to capital for these startups to help them on their journey. So that is why we have partnered for this AgTech Angel Network. So we have very proudly supported 10 angel networks to come to market. Each one of them has received $300,000 in funding. And this funding can be used to cover operational costs, including staff salaries, event costs, insurance, accounting, legal, marketing, and anything else to support the network. On average, these angel networks are catalyzing millions of dollars of private sector capital into the areas that they're investing in. Some of them are generalist and some of them are specialist. We have proudly supported angel networks in climate as well as in healthcare, but this is our third specialized sector angel network, specifically focused on AgTech. So the question is, who is eligible for this grant round? And ultimately looking for angel investors who have got a demonstrable experience in investing or supporting AgTech startups, and they want to formalize a new angel network, and that would be registered in the state of Victoria. Alternatively, we're looking at an established angel network with demonstrable expertise investing and supporting AgTech startups registered outside the state of Victoria, looking to start a branch or an office in Victoria. What I mean by a demonstrable investing experience is we want to ensure that you, whether you are an individual seeking to bring together a network or an active network, we want to know that you have had experience in early stage investing. And when we talk about early stage, we're talking pre-seed and seed capital. So if you don't have that experience, you're probably not best placed to put in a grant round. We wouldn't recommend you take the time. We certainly know that there are people out there that do have strong investment experience and AgTech experience who are exactly the sort of person that we are looking for. As I said, we are looking for this network to be established in Victoria. So either if it's new, it must be incorporated and have its headquarters in the state of Victoria. If it's registered outside of Victoria already, then it must be established. We're looking to establish a Victorian branch or office, and that would mean having senior members of staff down here, because we know the importance of having our investors on the ground, meeting and interacting with the startup community and providing advice and opportunities and connections that will help not just the people that they invest in, but all the people that they meet along their journey. So as I said before, you can apply for up to 300,000. We always get someone that puts in more. Please don't. We do have a cap. Eligibility is funding up to 300,000. And we do ask that applications are submitted on the LaunchVic application system before the closing date. And we don't accept late applications. We always get someone who puts in a late application, but unfortunately we do have a strict cutoff time. And to be fair to everyone, we do stick to that. So we have a key assessment criteria. And I should say before I jump into this, if anyone's got any questions, please do drop them in the Q&A channel. I'm more than happy to address them. The key assessment criteria that I'll walk through now are the key assessment type criteria set out in the guidelines. And I just want to give you some guidance on what we're looking for as you bring together your application. So the first thing is, what is your investment thesis and approach to angel investment in AgTech? So we really want to understand not just that you're in AgTech sector, but where and how do you invest in AgTech? What's your experience? What's your investment thesis? Are you targeting all AgTechs or a vertical of AgTech? Why are you focused on a specific vertical? So we're looking for some background information there. We also want to know why you're formalizing this new Angel AgTech network. Why do you believe now's the right time? And why do you need LaunchVic funding? And finally, in the summary section, we're looking for how the Angel Network will address diversity and inclusion in its investment portfolio. It's something that we at LaunchVic are very passionate about. We recognize that minority groups, as well as women, are underrepresented in the startup sector. And it's really very important that all of our groups consider diversity and inclusion, certainly gender, but we also look more broadly to other diversity metrics, including regional, non-English speaking language, CALD, Indigenous, etc. So we'd be really interested in how you're going to help us drive diversity in the AgTech community. We're also very interested in who your membership is of your angel network. We ask you to upload a list of current or committed angels. And when we do run these angel rounds, it's always so impressive to see the long list of people who have already come together to commit and get behind an angel network. And that gives us confidence that you're able to corral our investors and you've got strong connections into them. So I'd really encourage you to spend time on making sure you have got a current or committed list of angel networks, because the people that we support have always had a very, very impressive list. If funding is awarded, we want to know not just how many committed angels are there today, but how many will there be in 3 months and 6 months. In some groups that we've supported, they've turned up with a very long list, and that's been the list that they've stuck to. Others have come with a much smaller list that have a very strong plan about how they're going to grow that angel network and encourage more people to look at the sector, in this case, AgTech. We do want to know how angels will be recruited and what, if any, criteria they must meet. The sort of criteria that we see in different angel networks is a minimum investment amount or a certain commitment each year, as well as different levels of education. Some people are looking for people that are very experienced investors. Other groups are targeting more new investors, and we're very interested in anything that unlocks private sector capital. But we are interested in knowing how you're targeting and recruiting those angels. We also want to know what support will be delivered to those angels to support them on their journey, particularly if you're targeting new investors. How are you going to educate them and make sure that they understand how to be really fantastic investors that are highly successful, that create a return on investment for themselves, but also more importantly, help this wonderful body of startups to grow and contribute to our economic development, their wealth, your wealth, etc. So investor education is really important to us, and that might be through events, it might be through some curriculum, it might be through some onboarding process, but we want to know what you are going to do. We also want to know who's going to run the angel network. And in some cases, it might be that you are representing a group of high net worth individuals who haven't yet found a manager. That's perfectly okay. Equally, you might be deciding you want to be the manager, but we do want to know, if you are going to be that, who that person is and what your LinkedIn profile is. We want to know the key personnel, including the operational staff, as well as who's going to lead the angel investors. In particular, we want to understand their expertise in investing and supporting startups. That's really important. We're not interested in bringing together a new angel network that is ultimately only going to support, that's run by people who haven't got the experience, because we recognize that we need to support not only investors to invest in AgTech, we need to support the investment companies, the investee companies, to grow. And so having strong knowledge is really, really important. We want to know that you have got knowledge, not just on the investment side, but it is that growth side. Obviously, anyone who's run an angel network or involved in startups, it's a very legal process, and there's a lot of documentation. We want to know you've got experience in negotiating, and we ideally want to know that you have made investments into early stage startups, whether that's as a syndicate or an individual. But we do want to know that we're working with people who really understand the investment sector. We also want to understand how many deals in Victorian startups you expect to close, both in the first year and the second year, and the average amount of investment you expect to provide. I'm not going to give you the answers to that, but it is an area that we take very seriously. We're not looking at tiny investments amounts, because we don't see that allows startups to have a long enough runway. Equally, we're not looking at a Series A type investment amount, because we recognize there are great venture partners out there, including Tenacious Ventures, who do a fabulous job of supporting the AgTech sector. So we really are wanting you to help us land in that sweet spot around deal size and number of deals, so we can help assess the different applications. We also want to know the operating model, the org chart, how you will support follow-on funding for startups. Do you have relationships to other VCs? Do you think there are ways that you can support follow-on funding, etc.? And also, we want to know a timeline for your process. How quickly can we get this off the ground? As I said before, we've got 130 new companies coming to market before 2024 in June. And so we really want to make sure that this angel network is going to be up and operational for these companies. Of course, finance and sustainability is very important. We want to understand your office operating costs and the budget. It is always astounding how many people put in grant applications with incorrect or inaccurate budgets that don't even add up. I really encourage you to take your time to make sure your budget does make sense, does add up. It's always not a good look for us when we see a wonderful application come through, but the budget does not add up. And that is always an alarm bell that we may not be dealing with people that are financially aware and able to manage the costs of the organization. So put your best foot forward on budget. We also want to know how you will achieve long-term sustainability, and we're very proud of our angel networks that we have supported, with many of them going on to achieve new business models and sustainable business models. That means that they live on beyond LaunchVic's support, and that's always really exciting to see. The other thing we want to know is support for startups, and this is also really important for us. It's not just the money that's coming your way, it's not just how you're going to help startups from a financial perspective, but what are you going to do that's different to anyone else to help your startups grow and be supported along that journey. So we'd love to know some information about that. I know we don't have any questions yet, so if you do have any, please do pop them into the Q&A. I'm coming to the end of my my blurb, so we're pretty much done. The final thing that I will just say is draw your attention to the end of the guidelines. about the assessment process. So for the final shortlisted applications, they will be required to undergo a due diligence by LaunchVic. And this may include a financial risk assessment undertaken by one of our creditor and director check companies. The information is kept confidential, but that is obviously very important. We might also ask for some additional information to help us come to a decision. At this point, we're probably only going to fund one AgTech angel network, so we do expect a tough decision, but it's really important that this network is of extremely high quality, and we do see that there's probably only enough supply of startups for one network in market at the moment. So it will be a competitive process, and we may well need to come back to you for some more information. The final thing I'll say is that applications are made at your own cost. They won't be reimbursed whether the application is successful or unsuccessful, standard for all of LaunchVic's proposals. So the important stuff, the dates, the grant program was launched on the 21st of February, and the round closes on the 5th of May. So there's still a little bit of time to get your applications in. We will do an initial assessment and expect to shortlist people to a stage 2 by Friday, the 19th of May. For those people that go forward to stage 2, we will be asking them to attend a virtual pitch day on Monday, the 29th of May. That will be pitching to a committee, including potentially some board members. We will also have to make sure that those people that get to stage 2 undergo due diligence, and those people that move to stage 3, which is ultimately contracting, will be informed by the 2nd of June. We expect the contracts to be signed in June, and an announcement will follow shortly after that. And the plan is to have everybody up and operational by 1 July. So I note there are no questions. We prepared a few in the background just in case we didn't have any applications. I've already answered one of them about how many applications there will be funded. That will be 1. We expect to shortlist more than 1 application. We do expect this to be a competitive process, but we also recognise that we're looking at a particularly specialised area of AgTech, so we don't expect a huge number to be shortlisted. In terms of the governance structures, we would expect to see from the syndicates, we really are leaving that to you. There's lots of ways in which you can put governance structures around angel groups, and we would recommend you have a look at our website to see the different sorts of governance structures and operating structures that are in place across our angel networks. But we certainly would be very happy with some, seeing advisors and people who really deeply understand the AgTech sector being involved in this, whether that is from a startup perspective or more generally an industry perspective. That would be really good. The final question is one that we often get on our angel networks, and that's, what does demonstrable expertise mean? And it is a little wishy-washy, but ultimately we're looking for people who have had investments. So we want to know that you have been on the investing side of an investment. You understand the difference between a convertible note and a safe note. You understand all the traps for new players and the challenges in executing shareholder agreements, safe notes, convertible notes, and you really do understand the ecosystem. So we definitely are looking for people who have experience, demonstrable experience. That doesn't have to be demonstrable experience in an angel network. In fact, many of our angel networks have been set up by people who are very proficient investors as an individual and are looking to share that expertise in a syndicate. So we often have supported people who are not experienced angel network operators, but they are very experienced angel investors in their own right. I've just got a comment here from Amanda. Thank you very much for your kind comments. If anybody else has any comments, please do pop them in the Q&A channel. I'm going to hang around for a little bit, but if you have any questions, we're more than happy to take them. If we don't get to them today, you can put them through the grants@launchvic.org, and we can update our frequently asked questions, which are on our website. But if there are no questions coming through, we will thank you for your time and give you some time back in your day and wish you the very best of luck with writing your applications. We really very much look forward to receiving them.